You found yourself on a special Raw reaction edition to Let 'Em Know Kings United. And on today's episode, the Bulls were so freaking close to get to 500, but they couldn't do it as the Clippers came back and beat the Chicago Bulls 112-102. But you know what? We went 3-1 on the West Coast road trip. It was still a successful one. I'm going to talk about the positives and the negatives of this game on this Raw reaction edition of Let 'Em Know Kings United. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time for the post-game reaction podcast of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Sacramento Kings, and the Chicago Bulls. This is Let 'Em Know Kings United. Let 'em know, Nation, you already know what time it is. Welcome to a special Raw reaction edition of Let 'Em Know Kings United, your Cleveland Cavaliers, Sacramento Kings, and Chicago Bulls post-game reaction podcast. I'm your host, Skylar Weisberg. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's show, the second show for you today on this Sunday, on this Saturday, excuse me. Why am I thinking that today is Sunday for some reason? It sometimes happens. I have no idea why. Anyway, you can find this show wherever you get your podcasts, like Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, all that good stuff. You can also find it on my YouTube channel, NJHawk40. If you are watching this show on YouTube, do me a big favor. Hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it. Hit subscribe to my YouTube channel. Turn on your notifications and leave a nice comment down below. Hit that notification bell too. Give the show a follow on those platforms if you can. Please turn on your notifications so you know about today's about the next episode. Please rate, spread the word out to your friends, and give Let 'Em Know Kings United a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. It is an awesome way to support the podcast, and I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. Oh, we were so freaking close, Bulls Nation. So close to get back to 500 for the first time since October 30th of this year. But we couldn't do it as we lost to the LA Clippers 112-102. But you know what? Normally, I would get like all mad, and normally I would get like all antsy. I would get like all emotional. Now, do not get me wrong. Do not get me wrong, okay? I am sad. I am devastated. And as a fan, I'm pretty emotional right now because as a Bulls fan, as a member of Bulls Nation, I wanted the Bulls to get back to 500. We haven't been 500 since the beginning of the year. Now, sure, we started out rough, okay? We started out rough, 5-14, and there were points in this game that I thought we were in it. The first half, we were in it. I thought it was stat for stat. It was pretty even. But the second half, but more specifically in the third quarter, was the difference of this game. In the second half, the LA Clippers did an amazing job of getting in the paint. At one point, the Clippers outscored the Chicago Bulls 30-10 in the paint in the second half. That cannot happen. And most of the damage, and I think this was the biggest difference of the game. This was a really, really big difference in this game for the LA Clippers. The biggest difference of this game was the pick and roll two-man game action for the LA Clippers, whether it was James Harden or Zubac, Kawhi Leonard and Zubac. Every freaking time the Clippers ran a pick and roll, you knew automatically that the Clippers were going to do damage. But the problem with that is the Bulls all year long, it's not just this game, okay? It's not just this game. All year long, the Chicago Bulls do a terrible job of defending pick and roll. I think we might have the worst pick and roll defense in the league because we automatically let Ivica Zubac, who is a great rebounder, okay? He has a lot of size. Now, and we allow, at times, excuse me for the burp if you guys caught that on camera, I'm sorry. When we allow Zubac to set a screen, whether it's a back screen, a down screen, flare screen, I don't know what down it was. I don't know what screen it was. I'm assuming it was a ball back screen, whatever it is. Vooch has to learn to get in help. And I think Billy Donovan does a terrible job of getting the Bulls ready to defend pick and rolls. I mean, it's not all on him. I mean, we were competitive with the LA Clippers in the first half, but ultimately, the way that the LA Clippers attacked the paint and the pick and roll action with Zubac really costed the Bulls. And also, second chance opportunities. I think all road trip it has been a problem for the Chicago Bulls. Not getting offensive rebounds, not gang rebounding as I've been saying, as they allowed 24 second chance points to Sacramento, 22 to Utah, 23 for Golden State. Ultimately, those three games ultimately ended up in wins. We allowed 18 second chance points to the LA Clippers. Even though it's a loss, it's better than 20. Okay? It's better than 20, but still, we gotta do better of gang rebounding. And also, we gotta do better at defending pick and rolls, because we're gonna see this LA Clipper team in a couple of days. Okay? We're gonna see this Clipper team in a couple of days. I need to see the pick and roll defense do a lot better. Having said all of that, though, I thought some Bulls really stepped up. I thought Vooch had a really good game with 22 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 assists. I thought Kobe White, despite his 41 minutes, he got going with 19 points. He had 5 rebounds and 4 assists on the night. DeMar DeRozan, he wasn't as clutch in the fourth quarter as he was the last 3 games of this road trip. I think he was exhausted after 3 big clutch games. 24 points and 10 assists. He at least had a double-double, but he was 8 of 19 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3, and 8 of 9 from the foul line. That kind of sucks. Ayo Dosunmu, I like this game. I like this 13 points, 4 assists, 2 steals. He was 5-11 from the field. I thought he did really good for the most part. Drummond, 3 points, 7 rebounds. Torrey Craig, he got some good minutes, 6 points and 3 rebounds. But ultimately, the LA Clippers were a little bit too much, as Paul George did his normal thing. 22 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks. Kawhi Leonard, 19 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and the purest jump shot I've ever seen out of anybody in the NBA, okay? They were talking about it on the broadcast, how DeMar DeRozan and Kawhi Leonard are similar to the games, but I think Kawhi Leonard still gets a slight edge because of his jump shot. His jump shot is like so pure that every time he releases the ball, I automatically assume it was going to go down. Terrence Mann, 7 points in 25 minutes, but the guys off the bench really stepped up, especially Norman Powell, 2 of 9 from three-point range, 18 points, 6 of 14 for the field with 4 rebounds. Daniel Tice did some good minutes with 6 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. James Harden, a triple-double for him, and you know what was crazy? This was the first triple-double that James Harden had against the Bulls. That's crazy. 14 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists. But the majority of the assists, like I said at the beginning of the show, came from the pick and roll action that he was running with Ivica Zubac. So if I was the Bulls to prepare for the Clippers on Thursday, I would need to stiffen up a bit. Stiffen up on the pick and roll defense. You gotta know how to get in backside help, and you need to prepare for the pick and roll. I would ice a couple of screens. I would hedge a couple of screens. Keep James Harden to the sideline, because if you... Or keep Ivica Zubac to the sideline, because if we don't ice screens, if we don't ice the screen, especially on pick and roll action, Ivica Zubac is going to kill us again on Thursday. So I hope the Chicago Bulls make some adjustments in that area. I'm just making a little bit of suggestion. Ultimately, I got to see how it plays out. The Bulls shot 43% from the field in this game. The Clippers shot 50%. The rebounds were 45 to 38 in favor of the Clippers. The Bulls won the offensive rebounding battle, as I'm surprised, 12 and 9, but they got a couple of offensive rebounds late in this game. The assist numbers, 29-27 in favor of the Clips. The steals were 7 apiece. The blocks were 6 to 3 in favor of the Clippers. the points in the paint 52-36 in total after it was 20-20 at one point, but the Clippers just dominated the paint that entire second half when the three-point shots were not falling for the Clippers, and they're a good three-point shooting team coming in. They did a really good job of making an adjustment and getting the ball to the paint. So the paint defense was pretty abysmal for the Bulls, and the pick-and-roll defense for the Bulls was absolutely pathetic. But you know what? 3-1 on a West Coast road trip, that coming into this trip, the Bulls needed it to define their season. I would have took 4-0. Obviously, I wanted 4-0. But 3-1 against a really good Sacramento team, a really good Golden State team, and one of the best offenses in the league in the Clippers. And I can't forget them. I guess I can have the Utah Jazz, but I guess they're irrelevant. 3-1 on the West Coast road trip. I'll take that any day of the week. So despite the loss, it was a successful road trip for the Chicago Bulls. Now they're back home for 7 of the last 9 games. We just got to keep it rolling, Chicago. We got to keep it rolling. I'm proud of you guys. 3-1, successful road trip against 4 really talented West Coast teams. I will take that despite this tough loss. That's going to do it for today's Raw Reaction edition of Let 'Em Know Kings United. You can find this show on Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Dial Radio, Spotify, all that good stuff, as well as YouTube. Like this video if you are watching on YouTube. Hit subscribe to my YouTube channel. Turn on your notifications and hit that notification bell. Give Let 'Em Know Kings United a follow on those platforms. Turn on your notifications so you know about the next episode. Please rate, spread the word out to your friends, and give Let 'Em Know Kings United a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this show on. I'm your host, Skylar Weisberg. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you right back here for another edition of Let 'Em Know Kings United.